The Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt has partially reopened, marking a key development in the ongoing ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The move comes as a part of the second phase of a US-brokered agreement aimed at easing restrictions on the Palestinian enclave. The Rafah border crossing, Gaza's only gateway to the outside world that does not pass through Israel, has reopened for limited traffic after nearly 2 years of closure. However, the reopening comes with restrictions, with Israel and Egypt expected to cap the number of travelers allowed to cross. The limited reopening will allow some foot traffic in and out of Gaza, enabling small numbers of Palestinians in need of medical care to leave. Up to 150 people will be permitted to cross through Rafah each day, but only with prior approval. Israel will also be conducting thorough security checks on Palestinians entering and even exiting the Strip. The European Union Border Assistance Mission will manage the Palestinian side of the crossing, sending lists of people wishing to leave Gaza and their destinations to Egypt for security checks. Likewise, Egypt will provide names of Palestinians seeking to enter Gaza, granting permission the following day after screening. Gazans welcomed the reopening of the Rafah crossing, whether to access aid or seek medical treatment abroad. For many, it is their first chance to leave or enter the Strip since the conflict began.
We are happy about the opening of the Rafah crossing, and God willing, it will open more so that everything we had lacking during the war can enter. We need more support in gas, food supplies, flour, medical syringes, and everything. Tents, blankets, mattresses, everything. Thank God we hope it opens even more and remains open so we can forget the atmosphere of war that we still have not recovered from.
Be searched and get tired, not for a day, but for a whole week, to be dragged around during the journey back, until I reach Gaza and see my children and my father safe and sound.
Crossing in what was once a city of 250,000 people is a sole route in and out of for nearly all of Gaza's more than 2 million residents. Reopening it to give even a small number of Gaza residents access to the outside world is quite impressive. Gold and silver have come under sharp pressure after an extraordinary rally unraveled. Spot gold fell as much as 6.3%, marking its biggest single-day plunge in more than a decade. Silver saw extreme volatility, swinging sharply and posting its largest ever intraday loss after briefly climbing early in the session. The sell-off follows a year-long surge that pushed precious metals to record highs, fueled by geopolitical risks, inflation fears, and heavy speculative buying. The immediate trigger for the sell-off was news that US President Donald Trump plans to nominate Kevin Walsh as Federal Reserve Chair. Markets view Walsh as a strong inflation hawk, boosting expectations of tighter monetary policy and a stronger US dollar. That sent the Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index up nearly 1% over 2 sessions, weighing on dollar-priced bullion. At the same time, analysts say the trade had become overcrowded, with a surge in call option buying mechanically pushing prices higher. This leaves markets vulnerable to a violent unwind once sentiment turns. Oil prices also retreated sharply as geopolitical tensions showed signs of easing. Brent crude fell nearly 3% to around $67 per barrel. The move followed comments from Trump suggesting Iran and the US are moving towards negotiations, alongside reports that Iran has no plans for live fire exercises in the Strait of Hormuz. With OPEC keeping output unchanged for March, analysts say fading geopolitical risks is once again exposing a well-supplied and fundamentally weak oil market.